My life is my testimony. I started out my life normal as anybody else. However, I morphed into nothing more than a common street thug and a drug addict, into a loving child of God and a pastor. I pushed the limits of authority, society, and the love that God had for me. Today, I will share my testimony of faith with you. Years of inner torment, running from myself and from God and anybody else that loved me. My life was like playing a game of Russian roulette, never knowing which situation would be the one that ended it all. My life today is one of cherishing every second that God gives me. There's no place to start but in the beginning. With the way my life on the street has been used to God's glory today. For over 15 years, I was addicted to drugs or money. What started out as a way to relieve stress at work turned into a roller coaster of very few high moments. It's ironic that I spent years taking care of my body, and in months I destroyed it. Within a year, I had lost everything, including myself. I began a cycle of heavy drug using and stopping and going to what seemed like a normal type of life. I would trade one addiction for another. If it wasn't drugs, it was money. Eventually, I found a way to combine both, and I became nothing more than a common street thug, collecting money due to other drug dealers and any means necessary to collect my fee and pay for my drugs. I lived to push the boundaries with authorities, society, and challenging God to let me die. The final challenge led me to a place with nowhere to run and one final choice. I'd hit every marker there is to hit for a person living above the law. Jails, rehabs, homeless, physically hurting others, emotionally hurting my family. The last marker was closer than I could have ever imagined. There was concern from my friends that I was about to somehow end my life, either at my own hands or through the overuse of drugs. I found myself in a place with nowhere to run, no idea when I'll be released, and no way to portray myself in a way that I was able to get released early. God had finally put me in a place of answering that question, life or death. The first day I was there, I met a young lady, and every chance she had, she quoted scripture. I knew it was God that had saved my life all those years, but I didn't know why. What did he want from me, and who was I to him? I'd spent years running from God, and that young lady had awakened something in me that I had done everything I could to numb. Feelings. Before I even realized it, I was on my knees crying out that I want to live. I want to live, God. I heard a voice say, this is your time to choose life or death. There's nowhere left to go. Choose. And I chose life. That day I truly repented for every terrible thing and everybody I had hurt. And I believe that God knew how sincere I was in my heart. And within 72 hours, he had me released from that hospital. I went straight to that church that young lady told me about, and I spent every second there doing every single thing I could find to do. I didn't care if it was sweeping the floors, cleaning the toilets, or if it was the gift of sitting there and talking to the pastor and his wife or other saints of that church. God saved my life. My conclusion is that I started out my testimony telling you that I was nothing more than a street thug and a drug addict. How I was on a self-destructive path and I wanted my life to end. I couldn't stand the person I saw when I looked in the mirror, and I hated everything and everyone, most of all me. I pushed the limits, and I tried to push God into a corner of ending my life. Instead, God showed me mercy, grace, love, and forgiveness. God never gave up on me. However, he let me know in no uncertain terms that it was time to make a choice and to stick to that choice, and that choice was life. My past life has given me the opportunity to work with others who struggle with addictions and the lie that they are worthless. There is someone that loves them enough to die for them just as someone died for me. I had a choice, life or death. Those around me have that same choice. If they choose life, God will never leave their side. He will never walk away, and He will always provide everything that they need. If I can go from a street thug drug addict to a loving, caring, compassionate pastor who reaches out to everyone I see, anyone can do it. My closing statement is simple. Society tries to tell us that our bondages are okay because we were born this way, and that's a lie. The only way we were born is into sin and in the image of God. So I'm going to ask you today, what does that image look like?